Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, welcome to a sports wrap on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. May want to start thinking about building the Ark or taking a family to higher ground. I'm not sure it's ever going to stop.
Oh no, it'll stop. Besides, some of the woodsmen in here will tell you we need the rain. So
I told that to somebody today, and they were like, "Well, why do you think we need the rain?" And I'm like, "Well, it's always good to have the ground a little saturated to help with the spring fires, blah blah blah, et cetera, et cetera." But I told my son on the way home from school. I said, Eli, I said, just think if this was snow.
This is 44 degrees. I'm not complaining.
No, but you realize that if this was snow, we might be talking 12 to 18, 20 inches of snow by now. What started at like 3 o'clock this morning, I think, was when I first woke up and heard raindrops this morning. And I don't think it stopped raining since. It's like 13 straight hours of it raining. Anyway.
Sue collects. She's one of the collectors around the state. I think my friend Pat over there. So they collect.
How much rain had she collected today?
I'm not quite sure, but it was pretty full. She plunked it up this morning, and it was. I mean, it gets to be kind of a strange weather collection to want to break away when it gets cold. It's hard to collect that rain.
It's hard to collect that rain.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's talk sports because people didn't listen to us for the weather because they already know we're full of crap. And if all of a sudden we start thinking we can predict the weather, well,
a weather prognosticator, I am not. I'm not much of a sports
where would you like to start this week? Because you got your Gopher sweatshirt on.
I do, and that's because the Gophers Saturday afternoon are going to play Penn State, and I think it's time for JP and the rowing crew to make a statement and come up with the upset. It's at home. It's our last home game of the year, I believe.
I believe you to be correct there.
And so
I believe we have to go to Madtown.
And so I think the weather's going to certainly be acceptable. They're coming into their house. I think it's time to nip the Nittany Lions. We could make a button like that.
That would be all right.
Yeah.
So I think about 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, we played Penn State, and Penn State was ranked very high.
Yes.
And you might recall, I think that the Gophers won that game.
They did.
Because I was there.
Yeah. No.
So you're saying history is going to repeat itself?
I'm just saying is back in 1977, Michigan came in number one in the nation, head above everybody else, and the score was 16-0, and the Gophers left with a win. And I mean, and that they still talk about that to this day because some of us are still alive that remember it. But this type of thing. I was
still alive too, but I wasn't there like some. So my question to you is this: how beneficial is the bye that the Gophers had last Saturday, where they didn't play, to come in here and be able to be preparing for Penn State for essentially 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, they're gonna, what they're going to be able to do is at least heal a little bit. And there's some bumps and bruises and some limps and
at this time of the year, everybody's got
everybody has them. And the other thing is that if they're going to have a chance of beating Penn State, they're going to have to get, how we say, superlative line play on both sides of the ball, and they're going to have to protect Brosmer, and they're going to have to stop a pretty good offensive line, and so might be one of the best in the Big Ten. So it's a tough go for them, but defensively, they've got all these other kind of superstars back there. Maybe they can come up with the game. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Mr. Purich with an interception in the last few games.
Do you think that's because they're not throwing his way anymore?
No, I think because he's so dangerous on the blitz that
I was just going to say they got him blitzing every place. It's hard to intercept passes when you're blitzing.
It is.
It's tough. Although Van Ginkel, he does it all the time.
No, Van Ginkel, we could talk about him too. Boy, was he fun to watch yesterday. He kind of took over the whole deal, and
we were having Eli's birthday party on Sunday afternoon, so I didn't get to scope in on the game. We were kind of keeping an eye on it, but we'll talk about the Vikings. Are you predicting a win on Saturday for the Gophers, or are you hoping?
I guess there's got to be a little bit of hope, but there's also got to be a little bit of stuff going in. I'm telling you, I mean, I make fun of Coach Fleck and his attitude and stuff, but I mean, Nobody's going to tell me he's not intense. Nobody's going to tell me that he is just running around on that sidelines. He's not concerned about what's going on. He's very concerned. And when you get a guy like that, that might set off a spark, and he has in the past and could do it again. I mean, sooner or later, Minnesota's going to beat Penn State in Minnesota. I don't know if it's going to happen now or 20 years from now, but it's going to happen. And I think right now they have the talent. They have. I think maybe they learned how to win because they had 4 in a row. And the other thing,
But
this
then they
one,
lost to Rutgers.
Okay,
They lost to Piscataway.
I know, and I don't like. I mean, as much
You don't
as
like Piscataway. I heard.
I just love saying the name. When you take a look at that, and I thought every team in the Big Ten has capable athletes. Every team in the
Ask
Big
Oregon
Ten.
about Wisconsin.
You ask Oregon about Wisconsin, and you go into that house, you go into Camp Randall Stadium, not an easy place to play. And they come at you on all sides there, and I can see that a opposing team might feel a little claustrophobic because they only have little tubes to get out of that place, and it's an amazing place to play. That being said, is Oregon are they the number 1 team in the nation?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way a team goes through 12 games without a blip.
No.
I mean, without a game where you're kind of going, wow, did we just do that? I mean, we just won, but should we have won? I mean, those are the kind of games. Those are the kind of games that, quote unquote, you win ugly or you persevere and you win because you hang in there. That's supposedly what championship teams do. That's what we hear about the Kansas City Chiefs and the teams that win. They find a ways to win. I mean, we talked about that last week. Blocking kicks, pulling things out of your butt.
Oh, Green Bay did it this week. And it's one of those things where these teams are so they're so equivalent that a Rutgers can beat because that was a mild upset, but they had a highly motivated quarterback, and they had a highly motivated team. Both coaches had worked together. There is a circuit of coaches there that seems to run around, and they all have shots at. I know more about Big Ten coaches than I ever have before. It's just they've been around forever.
All right, I know you've probably been just chomping at the bit to talk about your team from Indiana. So, what are their chances against the Buckeyes?
Well, I mean,
on Saturday?
it's one of those things where the Buckeyes don't like losing 2 games in a year, and they get a little bit crunched. I'm not sure Indiana can go in there and take it to them. But I think that it's going to be one fine game, and I will keep a close eye on that because Indiana's a good football team, and they got their quarterback that's liable to be back at 100% right now. They have beaten all the people. I mean, beaten them. Not just they've taken control of the game and gone out. And I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you used to take a look at the Big Ten and you'd say, well, there's Indiana and there's Illinois and there's Michigan State, and maybe we can get a win from those 3. The rest of them is pretty tough. Well, that's not the way it is anymore, not at all.
No. So you're predicting an Ohio State win?
I'm predicting Ohio State. They've got too much on the line. But, if Indiana were to win, that would not break my heart.
I'm aware. I think we're all aware.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of the Bulldogs versus Mankato on Saturday?
No, I'm afraid my Saturday was hooked up between 3 other games, and it's so. But I
You couldn't watch 4?
No,
The disappointment reigns, George. Come on, man. We got to be back.
There was digital limitations.
Hey, they beat Mankato for the 2nd year in a row.
I know.
And guess what? That's the 2nd year in a row Mankato goes to the national tournament.
And not UMD.
UMD peed it away earlier in the year.
They did, and as soon as they lost to Moorhead,
that was pretty much the end.
And Moorhead had a good team, and they caused commotion throughout the league, so Bemidji sneaks in.
Bemidji got in. Augustana got in.
Augustana got in.
So we'll see what happens. The Division II playoffs start this Saturday, as do the Division III playoffs. Of course, St. John's won the MIAC last week, so they get a bye through the first week of the Division IIIs, and then we'll have division playoffs going on all week. I mean, every weekend now through till like mid-January.
Well, and just to say a little something about Division III football. I mean, St. John's won it. I shouldn't say again, but they do this pretty consistently. But as soon as they get out of Minnesota, there's some real fine Division III football teams out there, and the competition does. So St. John's going to have to play to an upper level. I think that's the Amos Alonso Stag Bowl somewhere in Texas.
They're going to need to play out of their quarterback. I mean, that's why you've got a Division I quarterback who's playing Division III football, so that you have a chance to win a national championship.
That always works. Yeah.
Anything else college football you would like to talk about? Do you want to talk about Georgia, Tennessee? Do you want to talk about any...
Well, let's just talk about Georgia and Tennessee. That was quite a football game.
Yeah, I thought Georgia, made it by the fourth quarter, made it a moot point. It was pretty much over.
Yeah.
So we knew Georgia was good. Tennessee's is good as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this all.
The reason I ask is all those Southeast Conference teams, and they're all good. How are they matching up towards the Big Ten this year?
Well, that's the problem with the super conferences.
Yeah.
Is that we get 9 conference games, and you got 12 games overall, and you got to play 2 patty cakes in there at least, and then you might get 1 big game. So we probably aren't seeing as many of the quote unquote the matchups between the SEC and the Big Ten. Right now the Big Ten has 4 out of the top 5 teams. When you're looking at things, the new stuff comes out tonight. The new bracket comes out tonight. But having said that, is the Big Ten going to have 4 teams in the top 5 at the end? No, because obviously either Indiana or Ohio State's going to win, right? Or one of them's going to lose and going to fall out of that top 5. There's just no way around that. And of course, then when you get to the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State, if they win on Saturday, and they would probably play Oregon, and so one of them is going to lose, and so there's still the mixture there. But I got a feeling that all 4 of those teams are going to be in the 12. There are going to be 4 Big Ten teams in the 12 team tournament.
I think there will be,
and I think there'll be 4 from the SEC as well. But we'll see how that all with Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and then one of those other teams is going to sneak their way back in the Texas A&Ms of the world.
So what are we looking at? Ohio State and Oregon and
that's what I think, because I think Ohio State beats Indiana on Saturday, and I think Ohio State and Oregon play in the Big Ten championship.
That's kind of the way it's played.
It's so.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the way it seems, and of course, BYU losing on Saturday opens up a whole can of whoop, because all of a sudden there are all these teams that
they were undefeated going in too, weren't they?
Yeah, and so they're in the Big 12 along with Colorado. So now Colorado, after they won their how many ever game in a row, now they're going, well, hey, we're in the driver's seat for a chance to play to get into the big dance.
And I saw part of their game, and they're playing well too.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. There's still about 3 weeks obviously left, because there's 2 regular season weeks left, and then you got the playoff weekend to decide.
So one other game I want to bring up on Saturday. Notre Dame is going to the Bronx, New York, and playing Army. This is Army, of course.
If Army wants to confuzzle this picture, if they beat Notre Dame, they are going to have the committee thinking, because here's Notre Dame sitting at numbers 6, 7, 8 in the AP poll, somewhere in there, whatever, and pretty much the AP poll has been right with what the committee has been. They're pretty parallel right now. If Notre Dame at 8, whatever, 6, whatever they are, if Army at 20 or whatever they're at, if they beat Notre Dame, now what does the committee do? Because now all of a sudden Army has a chance to run the table, okay, and not play Navy in the championship game because Navy blew it last week.
Yeah.
So we won't see Army Navy 2 games in a row. But here you got Army, who theoretically, if they win on Saturday against Notre Dame, would have a chance to argue that we should be in the tournament. And then they might have to play back to back big weeks, title game, Navy game, and possibly the first round of the playoffs the following week.
And that very well could happen. And that opening round of AAC would probably be against Tulane.
Yeah.
And Tulane, I watched the game. They're a good football team. I don't know where they come up with all that speed down there. Boy, those Southern boys, they can gallop and fast too. But the whole situation has turned into, I'm so happy that Army has been able to do this. They're strong. They got their quarterback. They got their quarterback fixed and raring to go. And we will watch Captain America go to work.
See what he does.
Yeah, see what he does.
How about your Vikings?
You know, they're an awful team. No, wait a second, they're 8-2. No, they're an 8-2 team right now. And if you take a look at their schedule coming up, they could wind up winning 13, 14 games. They could have they have Chicago at Chicago, and then they have somebody comes in and plays, and they have Chicago at
I believe
home.
it's Arizona. I think the first week is Sunday in December.
But they have 3 home games in a row, and they're playing well, especially the defense. The defense is, Big Andrew, he is a wild man. I just love it when that hair flows and he starts knocking people over. It was an interesting game on Sunday for a lot of reasons, and I'm not necessarily sure that. When they scored the 98-yard touchdown pass, think about that. You can only have a 99-yard touchdown pass.
True.
So this is just about as long as you can get it. And
I haven't seen. I never saw the play.
oh, did you?
I never saw it.
Oh,
All I know was
The neighbors-
we're at the bowling alley, like I mentioned, for Eli's birthday party.
Okay.
I went down to check on the kids, and I came back, and they're kicking off to us. So I looked on my phone, and it said that we'd given up a 98-yard touchdown pass, and I'm like, oh, okay. I never saw it, so I don't know if it was good, bad, or otherwise.
No, it was. The linebacker that was supposed to check him kind of slipped and fell down, and so he is all alone for 10 yards until the cornerback tries to catch up, and he couldn't catch up. And there was just like Levis did not play that good. In fact, he had 2 long passes. He had some 200 yards, and one of them was for 98 yards. So, they really didn't play that well. And so, but everybody's kind of getting excited about the long plays and giving up the long plays. And that's an issue. I don't care where you at. It's
You know what they said in Forrest Gump? It happens.
It happened.
It happens.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the point of the game.
They're all concerned about the before snap penalties that are on the Vikings. Well, this isn't nothing new, folks. It is what it is. So, hey, I'm going to say this about the 8-2 Vikings. We thought they might only win 7 games
Yes.
all year, and maybe that was a hope and a prayer. So anybody who's out there saying, well, they can't make it to the Super Bowl, who gives a crap? We weren't thinking they were ever going to make the Super Bowl anyway. But it's been fun watching them go 8-2. It makes Sundays way more fun and enjoyable. It's easier to get up Monday morning and go to work.
Between Cashman and Van Tucker, they had 5 sacks. They were all over that poor quarterback, and every time they did it, they got more inspired to do one more.
of it.
They were just they just swarmed. So I thought that any time you can beat a team in the NFL, 1 point, 40 points, and you know this yourself. There's a professional team you play and you beat them by 4 or 5 touchdowns. the next time you go back and they club you with it. And it's just like, they can do that. And it's and I've seen it happen countless times, and so have you. And so there is no promise of anything in this, especially in the NFL. None.
I have one gripe about Sunday's game, and that is the fact that when your good friend and our good friend, Mr. Why am I not thinking of the running back's name for right now? Oh my gosh. From the back, Aaron Jones. When he fumbled that football on about the 4th snap of the game, Darnold got blamed for it because it was here instead of right here.
Yeah, it was a lousy placement. It was.
Well, hey, he's got hands. He's supposed to be this great receiver that catches everything. He can't move his hands to here. I gotta have it right here.
I'm going to tell you kind of what that whole line was out of sync for one very good reason. They had a defensive tackle. His name is Pravonde Sweat. He's 6'4", 366 pounds, a rookie from Texas. And he moved 2 great big 300-pound tackles out of the way. Just kind of pushed right through them. And I looked at that and then made when Jones had the ball and got hit by this guy, it was like a puppy getting hit by a truck. I thought, he almost looked like 2 guys. Now, so I look up, he was a 2nd-round draft pick, and they say that he could truly be a dominant defensive player. The weight's an issue, and he would probably be playing a whole lot better were he 3 1/4. But I mean, I didn't see weight as an issue so much as just insurance on him hurting somebody. He's really going to be a fine defensive tackle, and so I think that set our offensive line apart. Now our offensive line, they've had injuries and they don't know kind of what they're doing. But Resner came back and they switched him over. I believe now he's playing. He went from right to left to right, and they were pretty pleased with his play. And I didn't see anything too much. I think Big Ed's going to have to sit down for a while. He might not even be around for very long. They
gave him a chance.
Yeah, they did.
He got a full opportunity, and I agree. I don't think it's that.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, the running game is certainly in question. I mean, Aaron Jones is, and you have all this incredible talent. Ty Chandler got a nice run back yesterday, and the other Akers, he caught a pass, but Aaron Jones has limped up a little bit, and
I agree.
Yeah, so
they probably need to spread the wealth a little bit so he's healthy for the playoffs.
Well, and like somebody says, it takes a little while. Like Akers is brand new, and not that he hasn't played for the system before, but there's a rhythm and there's a quickness that just has to come back, and it takes time.
Okay, we're going to go play the Bears in Chicago on Sunday.
Yeah.
No, on Sunday, excuse me.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the Bears, who everybody was predicting was going to be this, whatever, can play as bad another week in a row? I mean,
boy, it's difficult to imagine, but boy, they kind of just folded apart, and and they had Green Bay. I mean, right by the short hairs, and it's just.
That's what I'm saying. Which team's gonna show up?
You take a look at the map, and Green Bay and Chicago are only about that far apart, and they don't like each other, Tim. Huh? And so they're going to come down there and really kind of do it to them. That hurts the Chicago Bears. It does hurt. I know one thing about really good football teams or any kind of professional football team: you get hurt one week, boy, you better watch out the next.
Yeah, I think the Bears are I hate to say it, at a tipping point in the season. They could absolutely collapse after last week's debacle with the field goal at the end of the game, or as you mentioned, they could inspire them that, hey, we're right on the verge and whatever. What about the Chefs losing on Sunday?
Yeah, that was fun too. I caught that one as well, and it's just at the ending, the Bills ended it with Josh Allen, the big horse. He got those big legs. I mean, he's a big guy, and he's not slow either.
Not slow.
And so he just stuck off down the middle, and there was nobody that was gonna catch him. And if they did, what would you do with it? So, but
again-
yeah. So he wanted that game. Buffalo wanted that game. The Chiefs, frankly, I think the Chiefs were looking that we can look beyond this season. Let's look to see if we can make this a perfect season. And when you're going to use that as a mindset, you're not preparing for what's in front of you. And it's just, they're all making commercials, they're all making money, they're all fun to watch. I mean, I love them. But all those things have to be distractions.
Absolutely.
And at this point in time, you've got, what, 6 weeks?
But from my standpoint, as much as I wanted to see the Chiefs lose, I think it's a good thing for them. And
Well, I
everybody
think it
might
is
say,
too.
well, why? Because you lose to a team that you kind of had their number. So now that kind of sharpens the brain a little bit for the next time, because there's probably going to be a next time between these two teams.
And you take that 15 perfect game thing and toss it out the window.
You don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about that one anymore.
Cincinnati losing at the Chargers. They might be the, what are they, 4-6?
Yeah.
They might be the best 4-6 NFL football team ever.
Well, but keep in mind, Herbert is a mighty fine quarterback.
And I have nothing
And it's
against
just
the
like-
Chargers, but
yeah.
I mean the Bengals can't.
The thing of it is, at
Can't
the
get a
beginning of the
break.
season, we thought that they were going to be one of the hard Chargers, and they can't do it on Burrows alone. And
No, I agree,
because I would still pick him up as one of the top young quarterbacks around. Although I haven't
He's not
seen
so young anymore.
I haven't seen this Drake May play at all, and people are just telling me he is really, really fun with a ton of talent.
Bo Nix keeps winning in Denver too.
Oh, Nix keeps on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Dallas is 3-7.
Oh, and I saw that game, and I
I did not watch a play last night,
yeah.
but I couldn't have been happier that they got spanked at home.
Well, they're and I mean, you've never seen so many long faces in Dallas, and it's and they're trying to go there and have a good time.
I saw a notification today that the Dallas Cowboys, if they continue down their road, they're going to be able to draft Sanders out of Colorado, and they'll get Dion to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, you see, there's good things come out of everything.
Wow. Pittsburgh is 8-2. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-2.
Yeah, you want to know something? They're not bad. I even hate to say this, but I caught part of that with the Baltimore game. What a football game!
Yeah.
But this is one of those things where JT Watt. Oh man, is he a football player? And he was just causing all kinds of havoc and getting inside those tackles to Lamar, and he was kind of almost running him down. You see something like that, who's moving that well and crushing the pocket so quickly, and Lamar Jackson can run, but all of a sudden he doesn't look near as quick. I mean, you know what kind of an athlete, but Jesus, this guy is chasing you, man. You should pick up the pace.
You should pick up the pace.
Yeah.
Of course, my younger brother and my best friend from high school, big Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
Yeah.
They have been since the 70s. God bless them for hanging in. It has not been a year in the last 5 to 6, 7, 8 years that they have not asked for Mike Tomlin's head at the end of the season. He should be fired.
Yeah,
he can't
yeah.
get us back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And of course,
Well,
Jim,
I'm
my
gonna tell
best
you.
friend from high school, said I couldn't be happier to be wrong as I am
Yeah,
about this year's team, because he said they were going to be awful.
Tomlinson isn't going anywhere.
Not till he's probably dead or wants to leave.
Yeah,
He's the new Bill Belichick, where he's going to get the pick when he wants to leave.
No, and you know how coaches in
I don't see him doing
Pittsburgh
TV
are
like Bill
iconic type
Cowher. So, Daniel Jones, the starting quarterback for the New York Giants,
Yes.
not only got pulled from his starting spot, but was told that he is now the number 3 quarterback for the remainder of the season, unless something injury-wise happens.
Are you saying that
What?
Daniel Jones' football career is ceasing in New York?
I'm confused about the demotion from starter to number 3. I'm completely stunned by that. If you knew that he was that bad, why have you been holding on for so? What's
Why are you starting him?
I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they're right now the New York Giants and the New York Jets are just stumbling, bumbling fools.
Oh, they are.
And
And not to mention Dallas, they just don't know what they're doing right now. It's. I watched Jones up there. I hate to say this, but I'm almost embarrassed for him. This is not what he has spent a lifetime creating, and it's.
well, he gave himself like Sam Darnold did in 4 or 5 years, though. And I'm being serious about that because he has talent. Don't get me wrong.
Oh boy.
But is it the way it's being explained or whatever? All right, Canadian football.
Yes, I
The
watched
Blue
them play
Bombers
that too.
peed it away again.
They fell a little short, didn't they?
That's the third consecutive, and I'm going to say it this way, third consecutive Grey Cup game that they have played scared, couldn't run the football. Angry. They played in 5 straight Grey Cup games. 5 in a row, and have lost the last 3 now.
I still get perplexed by trying to defend that end zone.
Oh,
It drives me crazy.
yeah. It's a full boat.
Well, they were having a real good time there, and it's and so I get this from the song "Stronger Beer," and they talk about Canadian football and the difference between American football and Canadian football. 3 downs.
3 down.
3 downs.
I love my CFL though. I do.
You do, and why not? They're great.
All right, you got to talk about Gable.
Okay.
Get it. Let her rip.
Well, he has 1 year. Has 1 year left, and he's been working out. And he had a WWE contract, and I don't think that worked out. He tried out for the Buffalo Bills in the defensive line, though he had never played football before. And and it's one of those things where these days, if you're going to play on defensive line, you can't be 6'1". You got to be tall. They want something that's able to knock down some passes. So you got to be a little bit taller than that. And plus, it's not a game that you just pick up instantaneously. I don't care how good of a wrestler you are.
No.
It's a great combination. So he has 1 year left because of the COVID. He's a defending Olympic champion. He's taking a look for the 2028 Olympics, in which he wants to come back and defend his championship. So we have 1 year, and he's been working out at the Gopher gym, and so Coach Angum said, "Yeah, why don't you want to use your other year? You can come back." And he's he's a terrific draw. He's only 24 years old.
The place is going to be packed every
game.
home dual meet or whatever is going to be packed to the gills because you're going to get a chance to watch Gable
And that's
live.
not only the Gopher. That's not only the Gopher gym. Every gym he wrestles at.
Every gym he goes to.
Yeah, he's an Olympic champion. So this is, I think it's great that he's coming back and doing this. He's, arguably the finest wrestler that Minnesota's ever produced, especially at that side. And we've had some good ones, but he has the right combination to come back, finish his.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question.
Yeah.
We're going to go hypothetical on this. So this weekend they wrestle. I didn't write it down. I thought I was going to remember it. Anyway, they wrestle. He's going to get to wrestle against the kid who placed 8th last year at the NCAA's. So a viable candidate.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's. What if he gets beat? And I'm not saying in the national championship match. I'm saying during the regular season. What if he's coming back and he's thinking, well, and I'm not saying Gable Stevenson's doing this, but I'm just saying, can your britches be too big and you think, well, should that be a concern for me, the fan?
Maybe we should ask our good friend Mr. Purich. He thinks that he could be a champion at everything he does. I think Gable Stevenson has the same mentality. I am the champion. You're gonna beat me. You better come at me with everything you've got. He's gonna get it.
the best from every person,
Yeah.
and that can work. I don't know. I just hope that he's not coming in this going, I'm the Olympic champion, I've done this, I've done that.
Yeah, he knows.
I
He
don't-
knows what to prepare for.
Very
He knows
good.
what to prepare for.
All right, so
I would
before,
know what to prepare
all right,
for.
so before we leave football completely, and,
Yeah.
and Gable was a whatever
Yeah.
in there, let's talk about the Prep Bowl coming up this weekend.
Ah,
So game number 1 on Saturday is
That's
the
the one I'm
9-man
gonna
game.
watch.
Is the 9-man game? 9-man game is Fertile Beltrami versus Hills Beaver Creek, who beat MIB.
yes.
Did you get a chance to watch any of Isaiah Wright from Fertile Beltrami?
Just 7 touchdowns.
Just 7 touchdowns with 3
You know,
two-point
I mean,
conversions.
and it didn't take a whole lot of time either. He was running them one after another, and he is the fastest kid in the field. And Mr. Inside shot, and Mr. Outside shot. If he hits the corner at all, he's gone.
361 yards rushing in the state semifinal game.
Yeah, he was as much fun to watch, and in fact, it was a really good football game, and
It was.
you know, and so that was the Ostrander, Leroy Ostrander.
Leroy Ostrander.
And they had a couple of kids, and this is this Hagenholz, and there were two brothers, and the dad was the principal of the school. So this grew, and I see that the Cam Hagenholz from they were, I think they were called the Cardinals, and the other one, who will win, the Cardinals or the Hawks? Well, we know that. But they had a very good team, really good bunch of kids, and when you take a look at, you know, the guy says, we have our band here, and you look at the band, there's about 20 people, and he says, our other half is down on the field playing football. And he says, and that's kind of the way this small school type thing was. Jordan Beltrami is a very, very good team, and if Hills Beaver Creek can beat them, they'll have earned every bit of it.
I had a thought,
Yeah.
and I lost. Oh, Cleveland. I think it was Cleveland High School. John Millay did a story about them. There's 312 kids in 7 through 12, and 237 of them were in the band.
See, that's what good music
237
education.
237 kids in the band 7 through 12. Woo! Okay, Springfield, Minnesota, the Class A game. We talked about
I like
Minnesota.
Minnesota a lot. I mean, they from on defense, from defensive end to defensive end, and all the superstars are in the defensive backfield. This is a very, very good team.
So you're giving Springfield no chance.
Well, this is the third time they've played for this in a row for a championship game, and Springfield, I think, has that going for them. They know what they have to do. They know how they want to do it. They're a very good football team too. They haven't lost all year.
I hear a butt coming. But
My Lord,
Minnesota
that
wins
Minnesota.
Minnesota wins their 10th football championship.
You know, and they scored in every possible fashion, including kicking 2 field goals, 37-yard field goals. So they can hit you in so many different ways. Whatever
Will
they,
somebody break open the robot? Is what you're telling me.
whatever they're doing in Minnesota, they are developing, and they're good, thick, 210-pound football players. You know that have a nasty football attitude. I congratulate that team.
Double A, Jackson County Central versus Steeples Motley. The first time Steeples Motley has been to the state tournament in 36 years.
Jackson County is a mighty fine football team.
And your friend Randy, our friend Randy, would tell us that because I'm sure
Yeah. No,
Staples Motley wins that game. It's going to be an upset of epic proportions.
It will.
Jackson County wins it.
no doubt about it.
And Staples Motley playing in the state championship game made us postpone our first boys hockey game of the year.
What, against Staples?
Wow. Wadena, Deer Creek, Staples Motley, et cetera, all hooked together. Their AD called the other day and said, can we reschedule that game? We've got kind of a lot of our kids playing football still.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Don't let us stand in the way of that. I mean, I suppose we could have said, baloney, we're playing you. That's not the right way to do things. Let them go enjoy the state tournament.
Yes.
And come back and we'll play them in February.
Absolutely.
3A football, Dassel Cokato against Stewartville.
You know, Stewartville is a super team, and I kind of
It's a super team.
it's a super team. So if that's Colcado, Stewartville's a super team. That's Colcado's going to have to play the game of the year. They are a good football team. They will take a chance.
They're going to grind. They're going to grind.
They're going to grind, and they're going to grind.
I don't think they can grind it out against Stewartville.
I don't think they can either.
All right, let's talk 4A football. Becker versus Totino Grace.
I think this is a big question here because Becker again is one of those dominating teams, and I'm not sure that Totino Grace is quite that physical. On the other hand, we know the legacy of Totino Grace, and they can beat you. So
Everybody loves to see Totino Grace lose.
yeah, and I heard something about it has to do with a lot of times with the school population. And Totino, in the last 4 or 5 years, have lost a number of students, and so they're looking to go down to the next lower level. So
Yeah, they used to be in 6A football. Now they're 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Elk River versus Alexandria in 5A.
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, this is going to be something.
This is the we're going to ram it down your throat versus we're going to throw the ball all over the creation.
Yeah.
The Alexandria quarterback, of course, is already committed to play basketball at Clemson. He's 6'8" and he's committed to play basketball at Clemson.
Yeah. And Elk River, they run out of a wishbone.
And
They just ram it, and they beat my team Chanhassen, and deserved to win. I mean, this was no fluke. They had control, and Chanhassen was chasing them, the entire game. That happened, by the way, with the Mountain Iron game as well. They got a safety in the first 15 seconds, and so they kicked off, and pretty soon. They're running back. The first, I don't know, minute and 45 seconds, there was 2 scores. From that point on, they were running backwards, and you can't do it there. There's just too many good, quick, fast kids.
Who you taking in this game?
I'm going to have to go with Alexandria.
Yeah, Alexandria beat Moorhead.
Yeah.
And Moorhead was ranked number 1 in the state.
Yeah.
Alex went up there and beat in Moorhead in the section playoffs 48-44, if I remember right, the final. If you looked at the Minneapolis paper today, and I'm sure you did, you saw who the Star Tribune put as their number 1 quarterback.
Yes.
The sophomore from Moorhead was the number 1 quarterback. That everybody in the Twin Cities metro area couldn't outdo what the kid from Moorhead did.
When you take a look at that defense and offensive all-star team, it's statewide. No, it's still metro and suburban wide, but a lot of those kids in there are playing in the.
Yeah, they're trying to become the Minnesota Star Tribune, so they know they had to go outside of.
Yeah.
They had to pick a couple.
Yeah.
But this kid, as a sophomore, better than every quarterback in the Twin Cities area. Says something. Big school, Maple Grove versus Minnetonka. I'm predicting, and Eli and I are planning to be at this game on Friday night. Leave at halftime. Maple Grove will be in control of that game. They have no match this year in 6A football.
No, I'm not sure that they have any match either. But if they do have a match, it's probably Minnetonka. And they're coming out of a very good season, and they played all the Moorhead teams and all the big, strong teams all over the state. So they're prepared to go around with this. But Maple Grove, they just have it stacked. I saw them playing a game earlier, and they just like, ooh,
Not too many weak spots.
No, there's none. Yeah.
Okay, that's 7 state championship football games on Friday and Saturday. I can't wait.
No, I can't either. And it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning.
10 o'clock Friday morning and Saturday morning. Gotta get up and eat your Wheaties early and get going.
No, yeah, this is the time that my wife thinks I need help, but I don't. I can watch all those games.
You want to talk about Gopher men's basketball?
We have to just a little bit. They play tonight, and
They
they're
do.
it's against Cleveland State. Now I watched them play against Yale the other day, and all of a sudden here's this guy named Brennan Rigby, and I didn't know if that was like Eleanor Rigby's brother. No, I didn't. So anyway, he's 6'3". He's a shooting guard. He's from I think Oregon or someplace. He played out there. He's got a 40-inch vertical. At 6'3", he just climbs. And
nice.
And he hit 16 points, sparked the second half comeback. because the Gophers were down by 10 and stinking up the place.
We have to come back and beat Yale, and we lose to North Texas.
Well, you see, that's why that would not have looked good. No. So, but and Cleveland State, you know, I remember we'd play Cleveland State, but way back in the old days, and they'd come in and they'd always have one or two shooters that they would just sit down and what did he get? Well, you know, he's averaging 17 or 18 points, and he loves shooting big bombers. And you know, we go watch these individual stars. Niagara used to do the same thing. We'd play Niagara. Ernie D. Gregorio was on Niagara's team, and Ernie D was flashy, and so be flashy, Ernie D. We'd scream at him. You know, it was fun. So there's some people, and it'll be fun to watch. The Gophers right now, they're struggling to score, and it's a good thing that rugby came along, and also our friend Isaac Asmo he's playing, and he's playing on a regular basis. He got 20 minutes in this game. I want to see a Parker Fox come alive, but maybe he's too old. I don't know.
Maybe he's too old. You don't usually get to say that about a college basketball player.
No, and you know, I understand he's just absolutely a fantastic guy.
Can you believe last Wednesday against North Texas, in the first 16 minutes of the game, they took 16 shots. You know how many they made out of 16? One.
That's you can't win.
One. That means you were shooting 6.7%.
Are you gonna wait for him?
What? This is a college basketball team playing at home in their home gym, and they shot 1 for 16 in 16 minutes. Oh my God!
Yeah, no, they're just really struggling to score, and it's so we'll see what happens. But right now at halftime, in 3 straight games, they rank last in the Big Ten in scoring, but second best in scoring defense. So they're playing good defense, but without Darcy Garcia.
So the other team is so shocked that they can be playing, that they can shoot so poorly, that they go down and go, oh, we'll miss a couple just so they don't feel so bad. Anyhow.
Yeah.
How about the Gopher women's basketball team holding Oregon State to 38 points the other day out in the desert? Not too bad.
No, it's not. And
not that they're. I mean, they played Oregon State and SMU. I realize those are powerhouses, but it's not Cleveland State. It's not Vermont. It's not Yale. I mean, those are big conferences. So Anyway, they get Eastern Illinois on Wednesday. There is an Eastern Illinois connection here. You do realize.
Who is that now?
Well, we have a girl who's on the roster, but she's not playing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Olivia Dawsonson is on the roster for Eastern Illinois.
She's been gone for a couple of years.
She was a senior, and she was supposed to be playing this year for them, and she blew the knee.
Do you think? Anyway. Oh, she blew a knee.
She blew a knee.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you think that missing that year?
Oh,
that's got to hurt you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out.
Maybe more mentally than physically about trusting the knee again.
That's a big part of it, right there.
Big part of it. I mean, Landon Budrus. I went to basketball practice last night. I stopped in boys' practice, first night of practice, and there he is, limping around on his crutches after his ACL surgery, and wants to be there, wants to be part of the team. But when he takes the brace off next fall to go play, where is he going to be at?
I don't know. He's just junior. Because he can be. Oh, I'm in my mind. I'm putting together this football team, and it's not bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
How about your Timberwolves?
Well, it seems to me that they've decided that they can play offense really well, and they get up and down the court. But there's this thing in the middle called defense, and they haven't been playing that worth a thing.
Well, you would think that they'd be better without Karl Anthony Towns playing defense.
Nah, Carl is out in New York, and he's lighting them up.
Yeah, but he didn't like to play defense, and I still don't think he does. But
No, probably not. But it's like one of those things where you take a look, and I think I've been hearing this complaint for a long time, professional basketball defense sometimes is awful. And it's just,
Well, yeah, they get into that all-star mode
Yeah.
where we're just going to run up and down and score.
well, that's I can't watch the All-Star game.
No, neither. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I-
But that's why I say they play during the regular season. It's just like, well, we'll give you your shot and you give us our shot, and we'll score 147 to 138.
Yeah,
we'll have some fun tonight.
The crowd will be fun. Yeah, we'll have. Yeah, no, I understand that.
Here's the thing that I found hilarious about after the Julius Randle three-pointer at the buzzer to win it on Sunday. The NBA on Monday announced that the basket should not have counted because he traveled. Now, if you go back, if you go back and watch the play, did he travel? Well, I would say by high school standards and maybe college standards he traveled, but by NBA standards he definitely did not travel.
That's rich.
That's rich. I like that's a good word for
that's
it.
rich.
He did not travel by NBA standards. That is a play that happens 30 times a game. So for them to come out and try to make Phoenix feel better by saying, "Well, they could have called traveling." And
That's
yeah. I'm not buying it all. So
No.
anyway, Timberwolves are at Toronto on Thursday.
Yeah.
Up until then,
Well, I'm going to catch up to the Timberwolves as soon as I get through this high school sports football season, and I mean Saturday I was watching football like a maniac. It was incredible.
I'm a bit envious. I had 3 hockey games on Saturday.
Well,
so
there were 2 hockey games going on downstairs, so I'd get reports.
there you go.
Yeah.
How about, speaking of hockey, as long as we open that wound,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Minnesota Wild.
Let's do that.
A tough one against Dallas. They cannot seem to beat the Stars for some reason. There's a
Well,
jinx. I don't know, we need
they're
to
seven-
sacrifice a chicken or something.
They're 17-11-3, and they're in second place in the Western Conference. They got St. Louis tonight, and St.
And
Louis,
St. Louis hasn't been playing well.
and they haven't been playing well. And they also have Ekbaldi and Caprizzo back in the line.
Yeah,
and-
Erickson Ek coming back, and that's
it's-
a big deal.
It's like one of the guys says, super line.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, they've been playing well together. Things are clicking, and I think that's what the Gopher the Wild front office was looking for. I don't know where
Sure.
that came from, because I'm looking at your sweatshirt. But anyhow, yeah, the Wild are sitting.
I think they're fine.
fourth best record in the NHL right now. I
right
believe
now,
I
the
saw.
one that's kind of hurting are the Wolves, and they have enough talent to be able to pick it up. And
I'm not worried about the Wolves.
I'm not either.
They're just above 500. Everybody who's above 500 makes the playoffs, and you only got to make the playoffs.
All you got to do is make the playoffs, and that's why
No panic.
and the complaining I hear about the Vikings not beating everybody by 60 points is hysterical. In so much that 2 weeks from now, nobody will remember the Tennessee game. So they're on to something else, and meanwhile, the Vikings keep on pulling it on. Now,
Yeah, I don't hear anybody complaining about the Kansas City Chiefs winning by a blocked field goal at the end and winning by this at the end and win. Well, they won, so that's what the Chiefs do. Well,
Yeah.
in the NFL, it really does not matter. Yeah, the Jacksonville thing last 2 weeks ago, I mean, it was embarrassing, but they won. They found a way to pull it out.
well, they do, and for a good or bad or indifference, Brian Flores probably won't be back next year.
Yeah, he'll probably be a head coach.
He probably be a head coach because he really did. He's got a solid
Well,
defense.
if you offer him enough money, he might stick around.
I don't know. Right
Offer-
now, I'd take his defense against.
Offer him $5-6 million and say we don't want you to go anywhere. I don't know.
No, he's a
Maybe
great,
he wants to be a head coach, but maybe he just wants to coach defense too. You never know.
He's a mighty fine coach.
How about that Gopher volleyball team?
Well, they wound up lifting one from Nebraska, but they're just a little bit shy on on the power school. Of course, Nebraska was ranked, I don't know, 1 or 2 or something.
2.
And they lost the 3 straight to Oregon the week before, and so
Still ranked 16th in the nation.
still ranked 16th in the nation. No, they're.
We can't be upset, right?
Oregon came in, they had 16,000 people in the pavilion to watch this volleyball match. And it's kind of like they have they have themselves an audience there and a crowd following that's really pretty good. They're one of the most successful programs in the last 10, 15 years in Gopherland, and so it's just a matter for them to develop, and they have some really big, strong girls. I mean,
The problem is we don't have enough tall girls. They all seem to not want to play in Minnesota. They want to go play for Wisconsin and Nebraska. Taylor Landfair, Carter Booth, who are former Gophers that are now playing against us. That we're anyway. That's another.
No,
we're not going to get into
some. You know, some of these girls are 6'3" and 6'4", and
they're not tall enough.
No, and they're in the weight room working all the time, and some of them are 6'9". I mean, there's some
scary part.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens the remainder of the year. I do know that anytime that Sue gets an opportunity or my daughter gets an opportunity to look up to the Gopher volleyball, they do.
Bella Caroli passed away this week at the age of 82.
Well, what can you say? I heard about this guy in the 60s when he'd have Nadia and all the rest of these, Nadia Comaneci. I mean, you saw this guy and they worshipped him. And he had total control. And I thought, gee, that must be something as a coach to have that total control. I'm not sure I'd want to coach like that.
Yeah, it's
But he was, he made history, no two ways about it.
Yeah, obviously, eventually coming to the United States and coaching, and like I said, some people thought he was great. Some people thought he was the Antichrist. Some people were somewhere in the middle.
He turned out some of the greatest gymnasts of the 20th century. And there's they do things like, holy cow, how did that happen? So, anyway, a lifetime coaching. That's a tough career.
My sheet is complete. You got anything left on yours?
No, I've been flipping my pages thinking that I lost a couple. We got the Bears on Sunday.
The Bears.
And so we got to see where that goes. And I got all the Viking stuff, and I think that we are good to go.
While you're looking, I'll bloviate for a second. I do want to apologize for throwing George under the bus last week. It was not his fault that the show went over an hour, but it is his fault this week, right? It's because here we are at over an hour again, I believe. But that's okay. If they don't throw us off the air, we're okay.
No, that's right, and they never throw us off the air. But we just got to end with Ski-U-Mah, Gophers, Ski-U-Mah. Go get these guys.
Go.
And welcome back, Abel.
We'll get 'em.
We're good to go.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.